Hey guys, just letting y'all know this is gonna be a very, very serious video. I was honestly just kind of wondering if I even should make it because I didn't want to definitely make this yesterday because I mean no disrespect to Etika and his family, and I didn't want to be chasing clout after, his death. And I just feel like it would be very disrespectful to me for me to make a video right after everything happened. And I didn't want people to be thinking that I was just simply making a video so that I can get views or something like that. I'm definitely not going to monetize this video. I'm not even going to put tags on this video. This is more of me just getting my thoughts out there on this whole situation and just with what everything happened with Etika, and I'm going to try and kind of keep my raw thoughts into it and not edit this so much, but if I stutter or something like that, I'm of course going to get it out, but I'm going to mostly just try and talk with y'all about like what happened. Mostly that's what I'm going to begin with, and then I'm just going to kind of give my thoughts on it, I guess, and then I'm going to try and end it off on happier, because I know Desmond wouldn't want us to necessarily be, this heartbroken over what happened. He would want us to, know you know his phrase, but I'm of course not going to repeat it, but y'all know what he normally says. So out of respect for that, I'm not going to be too, I'm not going to try and seem too upset. And plus, I don't want to be that like dramatic in a sense because I don't want to sit here and be crying and then all this and that. Whereas people who knew him closer, those are the ones that are really hurting. And it's not to say that I haven't been hurting, but I just feel like I shouldn't, again, be disrespectful to him. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is I just don't want to be fake about the situation at all. And I just don't want to give off any kind of fake vibes for what has happened because for who Etika was, he was a very genuine person. So it would be much of a dishonor to, be very bad about that and to be very just trying to make myself over emotional or just something that I'm just not right now because I've already had time to just kind of process what happened, and I guess I should kind of talk about that too right now. So let me go ahead and just actually just get on with what happened, and then I'll explain a little bit more. So basically, guys, if you don't know, I'm sure the reason why you're on this, somehow you found this video, you know that Desmond Amofah, better known as Etika, has committed suicide recently. And the video was actually scheduled to be uploaded. If y'all did not see his suicide note, basically video, that's what everyone's calling it. And it was actually scheduled to go up a while back. Or not a while back, but he scheduled it. I'm not too sure when he scheduled it, but he did schedule the video to come up not too long ago. And so we can only presume that he has been kind of already planning this not for a whole long time, I would hope, but you can definitely tell that he was definitely planning this for a little while. And there were so many signs, and there's so many issues going on, and you could tell that our friend was just not the same. There were too many factors, I think, going into this for anything to just be one thing to look at. But you could just, like I was just saying, you could just tell that from his breakdowns that he's had previously, it just wasn't good. And it's just really sad to see that in someone so young. I mean, I know I'm younger than him, but he was, I just felt like he had his whole life ahead of him still. I mean, this was a dude that made fun of his own death and said he would want to. If y'all haven't heard the story about the tombstone, it's just funny. And this is the same guy who would just always be so bright and just always be so out there. And just to see this happen to him, just to see, it's unexpected. And I just can't believe it, to be honest. I keep going back in my mind, and I'm just like, oh, well, maybe it's like the first time that we thought he was dead. He was just in a mental hospital, but unfortunately that's not going to happen this time. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about my experiences. Well, these are going to be kind of more of the, I guess, more serious ones with Etika and what I was thinking through the whole thing. And then I don't want to end it off on a bad note. So I'll be giving my positive ones, I guess, in a minute. So basically, if I were to think back, I would have to, when all this started, I mean, we of course have to think back to his first mental breakdown. And I actually did make a video on that too as well, because I just felt something was off about the whole situation. It just didn't seem to feel right, if that makes sense. It just, something about it, I just felt like there was more to the situation than what we were being led on. I kind of talked about this in the last video, so I'll just kind of briefly touch on it. I was actually trying to watch Etika's playthrough of Undertale, and when I was watching it, I had it open up in the new browser, just kind of like how everyone does when they have to save when they have to save something, but they don't want to like close it out or anything like that because they're on a specific part and they just want to continue from there with YouTube videos. So I was like that, and then for some reason I got like a playback error on mine, and I was like, oh well, we just refreshing, no big deal. But then I noticed that his video was not appearing. I was like, what? I thought maybe he deleted it or something like that. So I of course tried to find out what's going on, because by this time I noticed that his channel is just not active either. And of course I find out what he did with his channel, what he posted to try and basically get off of YouTube. And this should have been really the biggest red flag for us. I think it just showed that, okay, this guy is not fully there. You know what I'm saying? Because most people, especially when you're that big, you don't go out and do something like that on your YouTube, because that was basically his career, so why would he want to jeopardize his own career just for a few laughs or something like that? And then there were of course his Facebook post and his Twitter post, his Reddit post, all those that just made the whole situation seem weirder. And when this first happened, I was like, oh my God, I hope he's okay. I don't take back what I said on that video, on the first video either. Now with what everything has happened recently and everything that's happened up to this point, I definitely do feel like he was mentally ill. I mean, I know like in the description of that video, I was talking about some updates and about how Etika was saying like, oh, I'm fine. I don't have anything. But of course, no one who does have mental health issues wants to, first of all, admit that they do. And second of all, it wasn't necessarily up to him to decide that, in a sense. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful and say he doesn't know like his own body or anything like that, but you're very likely to be, I guess, swayed more easy to the side of, hey, there's nothing wrong with me, I don't need to worry about everyone, rather than actually trying to take care of yourself. So that's the first event that happened, and that's the first time that, you know, we felt like something was off. But when he came back, he was mostly okay. I mean, you could tell that, you know, okay, the events that happened did have an effect on him, because he seemed like, honestly, a little bit wilder, but it didn't seem to be anything like monumental per se. It just seemed like, you know, okay, well, over time he'll get over it. Then the next thing happened, which, correct me if I'm wrong, if this is the next thing, the situation with the police. That's, and I'm going to be very honest with y'all, because I don't want to, of course, not be honest with y'all. This is around the time that I kind of stopped watching him for a while, because I felt like I just couldn't support who this person was. I mean, I know I was just talking about how he didn't seem to change as much, but over time, up to this point, right before with the police situation and during it, I just felt like I couldn't support who this guy was turning into. And that's not to say I didn't care about Etika, because I've been watching Etika since I was a kid, you guys. So definitely I felt like something was off this entire time, but I'll be honest when I say that I just couldn't watch him anymore, because I just felt like it wasn't Etika that I was watching. I felt like this was a whole different person, because he was becoming more, in a sense, egotistical. He was saying a lot of things, his little spiritual awakening thing, and just everything that was happening. I was like, dude, who even is this guy anymore, you know? And my mentality at that point was just my mentality at that point was just, I just feel like Etika, and I'm being honest with you here, I'm really not trying to be disrespectful at all, but I'm just giving you my thought during that time. I thought, you know, okay, well, maybe he really is just getting a bit more egotistical, you know, maybe he's just amplifying his personality to, in a sense, get more out there, because most people, I don't think, would want to try and start with anything with police, especially not in the manner that happened, you know, and most people would want it to end peacefully. And I hate to say that too, when I say that I felt like he was becoming more egotistical, because now that I see definitely what was going on and everything, it really was just, you know, the state of his mental health. It really was just what was going on in his mind at the time. And, you know, there's a fine line between blaming someone for their actions and for them having some kind of issue that they might not necessarily be available to control. And even in his video before, well, as before he passed, you know, he even said, you know, this is not, you know, this is all my fault. And even though I do feel like I was mentally ill, basically he didn't want to blame it on that. But at the same time, no normal person, you know, just has that kind of thought process going on, you know. So at that time, I guess I just wasn't following him as much. I didn't want to see this Etika anymore, and basically I it wasn't the old Etika. And I'm not saying that as like, oh, well, you know, he's become less funny. It's just, there was just something off about him at that time, and that should have been a big warning sign to everyone, especially when he got arrested the way he did, or detained at least, because that just shows like, okay, there's got to be more to the story than what we're realizing, you know. So flash forward to basically the present, and you know, I do actually pop into Etika's streams from time to time, but I'm, you know, again, I'm not too fond of his spiritual awakening, or the fact, you know, he said that he was trying to not be the Etika persona anymore, and that he wanted to change into the Desmond one. which, looking back on that now, that is kind of dangerous when you think about it, because I understand what he was saying, but we could definitely see that this was not Desmond that he was turning into. And it was just not it. Even if he was being fake as the Etika persona, as he was trying to make it out to be, you could tell that whatever he was becoming in his more recent videos and streams, that just wasn't Etika, and that wasn't Desmond, that wasn't anyone that we've recognized before. And it was basically just, a broken man at that point. And I think we could really see this in like his very, very recent streams. I actually watched one of his very recent streams, like a clip of it not too long ago, and honestly made me a little scared in the sense of who Etika was at that time, because he was just so, like, everyone gets serious at times, but he was just so nonchalant about everything, I guess. He looked just so serious, and it was kind of grim. And, he would yell, and it was not the fun kind of yell, like, woo, more like he would yell at some of the people in this chat, and I was like, what? When has Etika really ever done that? Because, even when he gets like spoiled on games or anything like that he hates, he's just like, oh, come on, man, don't be doing that. He's like that. But he seemed to be getting mad easier. He seemed to just be getting frustrated. And this was definitely not Etika at this point. This was definitely not the Etika that I knew. And I felt like this should have been the biggest warning sign to everybody once we saw how he was on his recent stream. Because, like I said, this obviously was not the man that we once knew. This was not the fun, lovable guy that loved to be on stream, that loved basically life. Because at this point, it just seemed like he hated it. And I think I think it becomes very clear to us now the effects of mental health and just how it can basically deteriorate, or a mental, whenever you have something mentally wrong with you, or mental illness. And this is not to say that all mental illnesses, of course, are the same, but just that if left unchecked and if left without help, it could definitely deteriorate a person when you're in a situation like Etika was. And I think, just with his recent actions and everything that was going on, I don't think he meant for anything to happen like that. I think he really was just struggling with himself, and I can't blame him. I really can't, because even though he has put the community through a lot, we have to realize that this was not the same man we're dealing with, and this is not the same mentality of the man that we were once dealing with. But besides all that, the thing that makes me mad the most is the fans. And this is, of course, not all the fans. I can't group every single fan into one category. But here's my whole problem with this whole situation that made me pissed off, if I'm being honest with y'all. It's the fact that so many fans would just be way, way too jocular with this whole situation, taking it all too light. And I'm talking about in the past, when his first mental breakdown happened. I mean, when that happened, people were just kind of laughing about it. And they were thinking, oh, well, nothing's really going on. It's all fake. It's just, I mean, I guess people did have a reason to believe that it could have been fake. But I'm okay. I'm not even talking about necessarily that. I'm talking about when he came back and people were making fun of him and they were getting way too involved in his life. I mean, I do feel like I not necessarily personally knew Etika all that well, but that I felt like I knew who Etika was. I mean, I've talked with him a few times, through his chat on stream. I've seen a lot of him. So I feel like I do, in a sense, know him to an extent, but I know I don't know him that personally to be getting involved with his stuff. We need to make sure that we're not getting too deep into other people's lives, because even though YouTubers and everyone else here are supposed to be for entertainment, we feel like we're attached to them to that extent. We got to respect the boundaries, and we've got to respect their privacy, And I felt like people just weren't doing that. They were just constantly digging at him for like, oh, what happened? Where were you? This and this and this. That's none of your darn business, guys. It really wasn't. And I mean, I know, like I said, I made a video about it, but I wasn't going out of my way to try and ask Etika like, oh, what happened with you, dude? Or, I wasn't trying to go out of my way to do that because I felt like that would be disrespectful. Because if the man really was going through something, that's the last thing he needs is fans badgering him, There's nothing wrong with being concerned, but like I said, there's a line between being concerned and being a little obsessed. And then there's, of course, also the fact that people were making fun of him being basically mentally ill, and that they just basically made a big joke about it. And it's not even the jokes like that were laughing with him, I guess you could say, that were necessarily bad, but there was just many that were just too out of line, I felt like. And then this next part also really pisses me off because whenever that situation happened with the police, there were a lot of people that were just like, oh, well, we don't care that you got arrested. Just react for us, please. And I'm like, are you serious? Are y'all really that indecent that you're going to treat this dude like he's some kind of even worse than an animal, honestly, at this point, and that his only purpose for his existence is to entertain you? Is, like, how can we just sit here and tell the man to try and entertain us after what just happened? Obviously, he's got some issues at that point. We definitely know that there's something going on with him. And people have the audacity to try and, basically get more out of him because they just want entertainment. That's bull. That's a load of crap. And I know people are going to be like, oh, it's the internet, though. That's still one of the dumbest excuses I've ever heard. If you want to make the internet a better place, then hey, it starts with you, after all. And it starts with people actually being decent human beings. So I'm sorry, but I can't use that excuse if you're just not an overall decent human being. If you're a troll, okay, whatever. But I don't care about that excuse if you're just not a decent human. I just don't see how you can use that excuse to justify why you can't be a decent human. But anyways, after all that, I just feel like he was being way too pressured by fans as well. I mean, of course, it was part of his mental health, what was going on. But his fans just definitely didn't help. His streams were getting so toxic. And it was just getting to a point where it was just like, why are we even still talking to Desmond like this anymore? Like, what is the purpose of making fun of him, of making light of all this situation, if y'all aren't even going to respect him as a human? Because everything that, like I said, was just going on, we should be respectful of him, and that we should have seen more of the warning signs and told him, hey, listen, dude. Well, more people should have told him this. Hey, listen, dude, you may need a break. You may need to get yourself together, try and find yourself more and go seek some mental help, But no, that's not what people were telling him. Everyone was encouraging him even to have mental breakdowns because they thought it was funny. They thought it was entertaining. And that's just so sad to me to see society be like that, because here's a man who cared for a lot of people, I believe. And here's a man who cared a lot for his fans. And yet his fans couldn't even give him the same treatment back. I mean, I know like what I said, that I didn't watch him anymore, but it's because I felt like I couldn't support who that person he was becoming. And in that regard, I was feeling like, hopefully, and I know it's kind of bad to say, but hopefully like his streams die down more so that he can get out and just stop trying to be someone that he wasn't, and so that he can actually go get the help that he needs. Because obviously, if people were going to keep coming to his streams, he was going to keep coming back and he was going to keep trying to entertain people. But I guess, of course, I was just one person, and I can't help something that monumental. And you can't ever tell someone, oh, you need to go get help, and, expect them to go get help right away, or to even go get help at all, because it's still up to them. You can't force anybody to do anything, unfortunately. As much as you want to, and as much as I'm sure a lot of people want Desmond to go get help, there's just certain limits to how much you can help a person. And that's sad to say, but at the end of the day, it is still their choice. And there's nothing that you can do if they themselves don't want to try and get better, So even today, though, it's very sad because people are still making fun of him and still making light of the situation that just happened. I'm not even talking about like some of the memes that have been made, like where Etika goes to heaven with Harambe and like the other stuff, I think he would have liked that. I think he would have liked people having like trying to make something good out of a bad situation. But I'm talking about more like, like whenever some company or something posts about his death, people are like, oh, well, who's this and why should I care? How does this affect me? And I'm like, it's because a human died, you twit. Like, how, like, where is the empathy and love for humanity? Where has that gone? I mean, if it was even still there, of course, in some people, because it definitely isn't, it seems like. And it's just like, how can you not love your fellow man? I mean, even though, like, whenever I hear about people that I definitely don't know at all, I still get upset about, And it's just, I just don't understand that kind of mentality. Well, of course, it's not going to affect you directly, but it's the fact that a human died, and that a human died tragically. How can you sit there and say like, oh, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care? That's just, calm down, edgelords. Like, no one really cares for opinions like that. Like, come on now. It's just so stupid to hear that. And honestly, I have no respect for people who are like that whatsoever. And that's just not for Etika alone. That's for anybody who dies. For most people that die, especially, if they're young and if they die tragically like this. And I just don't understand that. But so anyways, when I, yesterday, cause I'm making this video, the day after we found out, and I'm probably going to just post it today. I like I said, I didn't want to post it yesterday because I didn't want to look, I was chasing for clout, for views or anything after what just happened. So I was, actually just came back from school. I was up since like 3. So I was super, super tired, and I've been feeling kind of sick, to be honest, like my throat, my head, and all that good stuff. So, basically I was, sorry. I just kind of lost my train of thought. So basically, when I was finding out about all the Etika situation, of course, the day before too, when I heard about, the video and that potentially he did commit suicide, I was distraught, but I was thinking, oh, well, maybe this is another situation of what happened with the mental ward, or what happened when he had to check in for his mental health. Maybe everyone thought he died or something like that, or that he tried to commit suicide then, but he came back out and he was just fine. I think that's what everyone was kind of hoping for. And even if it was some kind of fake crap that he was trying to pull, I would be extremely upset that he would try and fake a suicide. But I would at least be glad that he was still alive, So I yesterday, when I found out through my friends that there was a body found, I was like, oh, it just wasn't looking good, especially since there's days that have gone by, and it just felt more hopeless and hopeless. And I even knew that, but I was trying to make the best out of a bad situation, trying to hope for the best, I think it's always good to hope for the best, but expect the worst. It's kind of a philosophy I live by. So I was trying to hope for the best and hope that there was going to be something good to come out of this. But so I heard about that, and I was like, okay, well, please don't let anything happen to him. Whose ever body that they found, that's still sad, and I feel bad for them too as well. And sorry, there's a plane out there. But I just don't want him to have ended it like that. So I try and go to sleep for a while, and I end up taking a little nap. And when I wake up, that's when I find out the news about him. And it didn't hit me at first, because I'm like, no, that can't be Etika. What? That can't be him, And I look it up, and I see all these news and from the police and everything, Etika or Desmond Amofah, deceased, dead at 29, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, someone that I've looked up to. And one of the reasons why I did YouTube is because of Etika. And basically, in a sense, one of my celebrities, even though I didn't really even consider him a celebrity, I consider more of kind of like an acquaintance or a friend even. And for that to happen to him, and for me to find out about that, it hit me hard after a while. It really did. Even though it didn't hit me initially at first, after it kind of just sunk in, I just remembered I had to go to my dad. And even though my dad, of course, doesn't watch YouTube and maybe doesn't understand all that, he still understood where I was coming from. And I told him about it. I had to hold his hand, and I just started crying like big time, And it just hit me all at once with what happened to him. And I think if someone passes, it's not as bad necessarily. I mean, it's still sad, but at least, they kind of pass away in peace. But with something like this, it just hits you like their final moments weren't exactly their happiest, And I think that's what really got to me more than anything at this point. And it hit me hard, But I don't want to make this about, well, I guess the majority of the video is, but I don't want to end this video off on a sour note, and I don't want to end this off on just me talking about that. I do want to talk about a little bit about how I found Etika and just kind of what I liked about him. So I found Desmond a while back with Undertale, because Undertale is one of my favorite games, if y'all don't know. And I was watching like reactions to like certain events that happened in Undertale, specifically like the genocide path, because that's always interesting to see people's reactions to that. And so I was watching some of the reactions, and I noticed this guy that was in it, and I was like, you know what, this dude's kind of funny. I was like, I'm liking this dude. He has amazing reactions, and he just seems like a funny guy overall. So I go out and I try and find him, and I end up finding, his original channel. And I'm like, oh wow, I'm liking this guy. Some of his reactions, his gameplay, all that. He has a lot going on for him. And you can definitely tell he has a great personality, and a lot of people love him for who he was. So I go on there and I start watching a ton of his videos. I watch all of his genocide playthrough. I still have yet to watch his full pacifist one, which I will be definitely doing in remembrance for him. But I just start watching all of that, and it's just it was just so funny to see this dude, like someone that I've never seen before in my life, and this was a while back, like years ago, and I've never seen anyone react like he did. I've never seen someone act so out there, but also genuine at the same time. That's something very rare. And that's something that Etika or Desmond had down that I think a lot of people just liked about him. And I would even, of course, by that time, a little bit after, I would go to his streams and I would go out and talk with him at times. And I just had a good time with him, It was just really fun, and he was just a fun guy. I mean, you could tell that at that point he was definitely caring, and that, whenever people donated to him and stuff like that, he was like, oh my God, thank you. And he even emailed some people like, wow, thank you so much for your generous donation. I really appreciate that. And he would tell people, y'all don't have to donate. It's just, we're just out here having a good time, my dudes. He said the other word, but y'all know what I'm saying. And so he was just a guy who loved to have a great time, and it definitely showed. And I think a lot of people definitely like that. And I am very thankful for him for what he did, because he helped a lot of people too, as almost all other creators do. They help people with depression as well, and Desmond really did help a lot of people with that. And I know he definitely helped me when I was having maybe darker days or not the best days, so it was definitely a good experience to have with him. And I'll just always remember his reaction to when he beat Sans finally. Oh my God, dude, if y'all have not seen that, this is probably one of the best reactions ever known to man, And yeah, I just have a lot of fond memories. There were even at times where I watch him solely over someone else for different reactions or gameplay, just because if I was going to go into something kind of fresh and I knew I wasn't going to play the game, I at least wanted someone to react to it, and who better to be talking about and reacting to than Etika himself, So it's definitely, I definitely have a lot of good memories of Desmond, and I hope that everyone else can remember him for the good memories as well. There's a lot of things I watched him. I mean, his reaction to Ridley, how he would always joke about Minecraft and about all that, about his old career of modeling, and whenever he did that little rap battle, if you haven't seen on YouTube, I think it's on his Iceman channel, or he's liked it at least. And just his overall just pleasant nature, I think everyone just enjoyed it, JoyConBoyz4Life, definitely. And it was just a good time to have with Etika, and that's definitely what I want us to remember him as. I don't want people to remember him as what the man he was becoming before all this happened, because guys, that was not Etika talking at this point. He had too many things going on, and they were just left unchecked, in my opinion. So definitely don't remember him for anything like that. Let's remember him as that exuberant, kind, funny guy who just loved to make people laugh, and who wanted to help others and help them, have a better day. Because at the end, I feel like that's what his goal was. And he was just having a good time with himself through YouTube and everything else. So I definitely want to remember him as that, rather than anything else that has appeared. Well, I'm not sure what else to really talk about per se, if I'm being honest with y'all, because I don't like I said, I don't want to end it off on a bad note, and I don't want to try and make this video any longer than it has to be, because I just want to pay my respects to a man that I looked up to someone, to one of the reasons why I wanted to do YouTube in the first place, because, you know, I just loved how he interacted with his chat too. I loved his reaction. That's one thing that I strive to do one day, is when I get bigger, to have funny reactions like that with people, you know. We react to stuff together. I love doing stuff like that. And I loved when Etika did it, because it was just so wholesome in a sense. And I felt like I was really with him during that time. So that's definitely something I want to do, and that's definitely something I will be doing, kind of, I guess, out of respect for him, you know, because I felt like that was kind of like his signature thing. And you know, like I said, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to start YouTube in the first place. So thank you for that, Etika. I definitely appreciate it. So this video is quite long already, guys, so I'm gonna end it here. Like I said, I mean no disrespect at all to Desmond. I'm not trying to clout chase at all. I'm simply paying respects in the best way that I know how to, for a man that I really did care about. And I just hope that people can see his legacy for what it was, for what it used to be, and for the good times. And definitely for everything that he did right, you know, because I know sometimes he felt like a screw up, but, you know, who isn't a screw up at this point in life? So just send love to his family the best way that you can. I know Keem, I never thought I would talk about Keem positively, but I know Keemstar is actually trying to put together something for Friday. So if you can support him out financially for that, for Etika, then please do so. Or just send love his way and to his family's way. You know, don't overwhelm them. If they ask to be left alone, please leave him alone. Like I know Omni wanted to be left alone for a little bit, and some other people do as well. So please give everyone the respect and privacy that they need, first of all, but definitely send love their way if you can. That's what I would definitely say. But I guess to end it off, I just should say, you know, Desmond, sorry. Thank you for everything that you have done, dude. Oh God. Okay, I'm really not trying to be dramatic here, guys. I'm really trying to hold it together. I wasn't really trying to get upset here. But thank you for all that you've done, dude. It's been a pleasure knowing you, and I'll definitely remember all the good times, and I'm definitely gonna finally finish your Undertale playthrough, the pacifist one, so I could finally see how you reacted to all that, because I've been looking forward to that. So thank you for everything, dude, and thank you for just being such a great guy. And you're gonna have a lot of people that miss you for sure, the community and all of his close family and friends and all that. So thank you so much, dude, and I really do appreciate that. I really do, and I appreciate everything that you've done for YouTube and for everything else, and for all the other communities, you know, because it's definitely hit home with a lot of people with what has happened, but it's definitely hit home harder for me with the better times about you. You know, I definitely like I said, want to remember you through that. So thank you for everything, Desmond, and thank you for being one of my inspirations, dude. I hope that you're in heaven playing the best Smash game ever, the new Animal Crossing, and all the other stuff. So I just hope you're having a good time up there with your brother Randy, and my condolences to everyone who was very close with him, for sure. So thank you, Etika, and JoyConBoyz4Life, for sure. I just thank you, Etika, and I'm glad I got to know you when I did. And I'm glad I got to experience a lot of things with you, dude. You'll definitely be remembered for a long, long time in this community. God bless you, Desmond, and I hope you rest easy, brother. Bye, guys. Sorry to kind of end it off on a bad note, but like I said before, before I sign off, let's just, if you can, I encourage and implore all of you to go watch his past live streams where he was just the best, basically the prime, and where he was just having a good time overall. So I definitely encourage you all to go look at that if you can. So please do. And please, let's remember our bro, our dude, and our JoyConBoy Etika for the good that he was. Alright, guys. Well, please go look at those videos in remembrance of him, and please show support in any way you can. Alright, guys. Well, y'all take care. God bless. Please stay safe. Please reach out if you ever need help. Please. Even if it's to me, I will help you out, okay? So, y'all take care, and y'all have a blessed day. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.